Before the Metro Manila Film Festival for this year comes and colonizes our theaters, don't forget that there are a few smaller films that may also be worthy of your attention. The MMFF New Wave Festival has been running since last Wednesday the 17th. It's going to be up to tomorrow, Christmas Eve on the 24th. Unfortunately, it's only showing at SM Mega Mall in Goreta, so good luck commuting to those places. It's crazy. I know that before like a film festival I put up a coming soon video so you guys know that this thing's actually happening. Sorry I wasn't able to do that because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to catch any of these movies amidst all the Christmas shopping and whatnot, but apparently I was. I was able to watch all 5 of the films being screened here, so yay. This is actually my first time watching anything from the MMFF New Wave section, so I didn't really know what to expect, but here we go. So first of all, we have Mulat, or in English, Awaken, directed by Diane Ventura and starring Lauren Burgos, Ryan Eigenman, and Jake Cuenca. This is a story about this woman and her relationships with 2 different boyfriends she had in the past, played by Ryan Eigenman and Jake Cuenca. And Lauren Burgos' character, Sam, begins to have hallucinations. She starts hearing things, and this movie really just starts bouncing between her 2 relationships. Much like the Cinema One Originals film, Hindi Sila Tatanda, which means they're not gonna get older, this movie only really has one redeeming factor in my opinion, and that's Jake Cuenca, which I'm really happy to say because like I've been kind of annoyed with Cuenca's like recent work in these movies that are very, to me at least, very self-serious and, you know, kind of feeling edgy, and I just feel like that really boxed Jake Cuenca in. He wasn't really able to have any fun with those roles, but here he actually does have a lot of fun. I think he gets to play finally a likable character. In fact, the only really likable, sincere, genuine character in this entire movie. He comes off as sort of a jerk at first, but you grow to really like him. Everything else in this movie though is just, oh my god, what happened? For one, the editing is just so scattershot, I think, that I know it's supposed to bounce between one relationship to the next, but it just doesn't feel like they're heading towards anywhere. You know, it just shows us random vignettes and nothing really interesting happens in these vignettes that are supposed to, you know, build up the character of Sam. In fact, if there's one word I could use to describe this movie, it would be alienating. It just feels like this movie is deliberately trying to alienate us instead of trying to use, you know, its weird structure to kind of intrigue us and draw us into the story. And what I really didn't like about this movie, it just felt like it was in its own little bubble world of perfection and wealth and whatnot. I have nothing against the rich, but the production design in this movie just felt so sickeningly wealthy. Like every single house they were in just felt like it's from some sort of commercial, some real estate ad or something, and you know, everyone drives a Porsche in this movie. It's just too much. This movie does have good visuals, I will say, but that doesn't really matter when the direction from Diane Ventura is pretty stale, you know, like all her conversation scenes are just so unbelievably static and boring, and like the scenes where drama is supposed to be happening, you really don't care about anybody. It just comes off as really annoying and, you know, shallow people talking about annoying, shallow things. With that said, the writing is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. Like, what I hated really in this movie was that they start talking about, you know, something like gender roles, or at least how women are in relationships. Like this one guy's talking about, oh, why are you women so like moody and whatnot, like just grow up or whatever. And that's really kind of misogynistic, and it was just really trying to generalize women just from the example of Sam, who is not a very good example of what a good woman should be. But then the worst part is that Sam, who's hearing this conversation, is like, yeah, you're right, I'm too moody, I shouldn't be like that. It's like, are you kidding me? Speaking of Sam though, Sam is the most annoying character I've watched in the movie this entire year. There was nothing I liked about her at all, and Lauren Burgos didn't really do anything to make her endearing or whatever. She just kept laughing all the time. She just kept speaking like she was the most entitled person in the world, and it was just so annoying to watch her. Mulat was just a bad movie in my opinion. I'm sorry. Okay, and next up we have Gemini, directed by Ato Bautista, starring Sheena McBride, Bridget McBride, and Mon Confiado. And Gemini starts off in this interrogation room where Julia, who's the twin of Judith, is being interrogated by Manuel, played by Mon Confiado, and she's talking about how her sister Judith killed this guy named Anton, and now Judith is out to kill her also. One thing I'll really praise Gemini about is its gothic visual style, which was just so amazing to see. It was truly very haunting. Like, we got lots of really strange imagery, like the very last image in this movie, while it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense in my opinion, it was pretty shocking, so kudos to them. But really just the way this movie looked, like the cinematography was so saturated, the production design was so meticulously crafted, it was just so fun to just look at everything. It just really created this really nice atmosphere. Mon Confiado does a good job as always as this interrogator person. He has like a special role to play later in the movie, and you really get to see him kind of foreshadow that a bit, and I thought that was cool. And for the most part, I think Ata Bautista really did direct this movie well. He has his own like interesting style. He knew how to like capture the visuals really well. The only problem is the plot of this movie goes absolutely bonkers at a certain point, not in a very good way. Like there's a point in the movie where one of the characters says, "I don't know what's happening anymore," and like literally the entire theater started laughing, and the people beside me were like, "We don't know what's happening either." It was just so this plot is just so unbelievably convoluted. This is a really good example of how a plot twist or plot twists can be bad, because here they just keep piling plot twist upon plot twist upon plot twist, and just does not make any sense anymore. You don't know who the characters are supposed to be, and it's almost kind of funny. On a serious note though, I really wish the relationship between Julia and Judith was much better defined, because we just kind of know them as, a unit, and we would have cared more about Judith supposedly being out to kill Julia if we knew what their dynamic was like. The dialogue tends to get a bit too dramatic at points, and I really think they should have just trusted the visuals more to kind of let the visuals send the message instead of having to like kind of explain every single emotion. For the most part, I do think that the editing in the movie and again the direction from Ata Bautista are fine until the plot twists start kicking in and nothing makes sense anymore. It just feels like ambition that just kind of went rampant. So for that, I will say Gemini it was a mediocre movie. It was a good try, although I did have fun in it for not completely the right reasons. Next up, we have M, directed by Zig Dulay, starring Jaja Padilla, Nico Antonio, and Gloria Sevilla. This is a story about Jaja Padilla's character who gets cancer, and she just tries to, keep getting second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion about, her condition. And she eventually goes also to the province to get, alternative medicine or treatment. As soon as you see her on screen, you can tell that Jaja Padilla is great in this movie. She really just masters this character so well. Her balance of being mean, really, really mean to people, but at the same time being kind of really dryly funny, kind of like Fletcher from Whiplash. But at all the same, she just stays sympathetic all the way through. She reminded me a lot of Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada, but not like more actively mean. But seriously, she was just great to watch. Like you might be able to kind of tell where her character is gonna go, how she's gonna change, but it's still absolutely engaging to watch because she's just so good in this role. Someone else who's surprisingly very good, in my opinion, is Gloria Sevilla, who plays one of Jaja Padilla's character's mates, and she eventually also goes to the province with them, and she's fantastic, I think. Through everything this character goes through, you see this inner strength that Gloria Sevilla brings, and you really, really feel for her, and she does that realistic crying thing where it's not overblown at all, and I just loved it. Nico Antonio is really good in the movie, although as usual he's not given that much to do, although he's very restrained in this movie, so when he has tender moments between him and his mother, Jaja Padilla, like it really, really tugs at the heartstrings. And all the way through, M really has really sleek visuals that capture the beauty of both urban landscapes and rural landscapes. My big issue with M though is that its message about healthcare is just jammed down our throats repeatedly all throughout the movie and gets really tiresome by the end. From the beginning of the movie you feel like it's going to be a character study about Jaja Padilla's character, and it is a character study for most of the movie until they get to the province, and when they get there it just becomes this, it's just too much message, it's just beating you over the head with it. I think that dog disagrees with me because it keeps barking. Yeah. Anyway, if there's again a word I would use to describe this movie, it would be very Brillante Mendoza-esque. In that it's really slowly paced, and a lot of it is kind of graphic and needlessly graphic to the point that kind of becomes not really poverty porn, I'd say like healthcare porn. I mean, I did not need to see a live chicken get its head cut off on screen. I mean, come on. I think a lot of people might like this, especially if they also like Brillante Mendoza, but as it stands, I'm not a huge fan of Brillante Mendoza, so I thought M was just okay. I kind of feel like the tone was kind of messed up also by the time they reached the province, because they tried inserting some humor, even if like some crazy crazy medical things were happening. And next up we have Magkakabaong, or The Coffin Maker in its English title, directed by Jason Paul Laksamana, starring Alan Dizon, Gladys Reyes, and Chanel Latorre, and also starring the cutest puppy I've seen on screen in a Filipino movie, at least in like forever. The cool thing about Magkakabaong is that the way it's filmed and directed is very naturalistic. Like, a lot of the direction is very real time. You know, you just kind of follow the characters around, one take, long, really long shots, not like super esprit de corps length long, but long enough to really like just kind of keep you immersed in this world. And I think that really works. You know, they don't have a lot of cuts, and the subject matter in this movie is very serious. I forgot to mention the subject matter, the plot of this movie is that Alan Dizon's character is a coffin maker, and he has this one daughter who one day kind of, just put it out there, she dies. And I won't say how. That's not a spoiler. That's like really the premise of the movie. But as she passes away, Alan Dizon's character has to kind of figure out what to do. He has no money to pay for anything. And I think Alan Dizon played this father character extremely well, because it wasn't like the typical, cry your eyes out, like threaten to, kill somebody or whatever. He doesn't freak out in this movie. He's really just numb and confused about what to do, and it's great to see that kind of reaction in a Filipino movie. All in all, Magkakabaong, I think, is a very polished movie, but not in the way you might expect. I think the production design is kept very light, but it's very effective also. Just, what Alan Dizon's character's house looks like, or the shops where they make the coffins and whatever. And from the very first scene, you'll notice that the sounds are also extremely well done. You just hear the sounds of people making coffins and stuff, and it's really eerie, but at the same time, it's really interesting as well. Like, it's a side of culture, our culture, that I don't think we really get to see a lot of in film. However, as good as Alan Dizon is in this lead role, I think that because he's so hollow, at least the way he feels, I think it just kind of robs the situation of a lot of its urgency. Like, I was really hoping for a lot more urgency, but like, people just kind of keep going about their lives even after the daughter dies. And I get that that's also, I think, kind of the point of the movie, showing that everyone else is just busy doing their own jobs. But what happened was that it made the other characters seem a bit too overly harsh. Like, his daughter has just passed away, and literally the nurses are just like, yo, like, hurry up, or like, pay up, or whatever. I mean, seriously, dude. I mean, you can see that he's distraught, and you can see his daughter lying right over there. Why are you going to bully him into submission? It was just a bit too unrealistic for me. And while the naturalistic style is interesting, sometimes the shaky cam can be a bit tough to sit through. It's just kind of unnecessary, the way it just moves around a bit too much. So all in all, I think Magkakabaong is an okay movie. I do think it's the best out of the 5 this year. So yeah, like, check it out if you can. And finally, we have Maratabat, directed by Arlene de la Cruz, starring King Medina, Chanel Latorre again, and Elizabeth Oropesa. Maratabat is this political story, this true story, if I believe, about this family that wants to kind of dethrone this other political family. Sorry, like, I've really hard time kind of repeating the plot because it's very political and I'm not good at politics. But as it stands, Ping Medina's performance, I thought, was very effective, because he's very restrained also in this movie. And you don't really get to see him do that a lot, but it was really cool the way he did it. He just plays the guy who's running for mayor against this bad family, and the way he plays it is really great. Like, when emotions hit him, they come really slowly, and they slowly manifest on his face, and I think Ping Medina is a great actor. Whatever you think of Maratabat, you have to admit that its heart is definitely in the right place. Like, Arlene de la Cruz, who's a journalist, I think, outside of filmmaking, like, really knows her politics, and the way they talk about politics here is very meaty. Like, if you're into that kind of stuff, you're gonna be really satisfied. For me, the best thing in this movie was the production design. It was great all the way through. Every single place they're in just feels, feels like it really exists and feels just right. It didn't feel like a set anymore. It kind of felt like a documentary at points. Costumes are authentic all the way through. Finally, we get like soldiers who have actual gear and actual guns and whatnot. And the cinematography is always vivid. Like, the images we get are also very striking, but in a disturbingly real way. However, I do think that Arlene de la Cruz was just a bit too close to the subject, because she obviously cared so much about this topic, and you can tell what side she's on, but I think that kind of distracted her from her filmmaking duties as a director, because some scenes go on for way too long. Like, some really disturbing stuff happens in this movie, and she really just does not want to cut away but it just kind of again ends up feeling like, violence porn or whatever. And she obviously wanted to get the political side of this across with the dialogue by explaining every single political detail, but I really didn't think that was necessary. I feel like a little less exposition would have, sped things up and kept us invested. And when Arlinda La Cruz directs, like, scenes where big stuff is happening, it's really actually kind of thrilling. But when she directs, like, conversations and whatnot, it's very static, unfortunately. In the end, I will say Maratabat is still okay though and worth a watch. Alright, so that is the MMFF New Wave Festival for this year, I guess. I really wish the MMDA would publicize these movies more, because the main MMFF festival has been, it's gotten its reputation for not being that good, and it's always great to kind of promote films made by up and coming filmmakers. Also, if more people knew about this festival, more people who actually respect movies would come and watch the movies instead of the audiences I got at Mega Mall who were extremely disrespectful and annoying. They just kept talking all the way through. It was, if you want to see the worst audiences you can ever imagine, just watch like an MMFF movie at Mega Mall with these people. It was unbelievable. Anyway, but what did you guys think of the MMFF New Wave Festival this year? If you were able to see them, did you love them? Did you hate them? Whatever you thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.